Okay, hi there and welcome in my series to a C# and XNA programming. Uh, in this video I will give you some advices on how to start with the C# programming, and I will also tell you what you can expect from it. So first of all, I will show you where to download the C# and all other things you will need, and then while you will be downloading it, I will tell you something about the programming, about what you can expect and what you can make in it. So first thing what you will need. So first thing what you will need is the programming language, the C# application, the Microsoft Visual Studio. You can find it by going to Google and typing in a C# or maybe Microsoft Visual C#, and you want 2010 Express and hit enter. So you see that there are a bunch of new links. They are basically all from Microsoft.com. Make sure you download it from there. Make sure you don't download it from some page where it could be a virus or something. So download it only from the really page. Not even I'm including in description any links, because so you see Visual Studio, and it's in my language, so don't be confused. So you press download, and Visual Studio 2010 Express, and here you see Visual C++, Visual C#, Visual Basic. That's the language I've started in. Wow. But you are gonna choose Visual C#. Click on it, select the language, and here press install now. Next thing you will need is the XNA. So type in C# XNA download, and you want a 4.0 or the newest, pretty much the newest version that is available at the moment. So for example, here you see it's from Microsoft.com. We will wait. And you see Microsoft XNA Game Studio 4.0. This is where I downloaded it from. You just click download, and then you install it. I already have it all installed, so I won't do that really. Next thing you will need, but this is not necessary, okay, it's optional, is a Sony Vegas or 8.0. That's a application that is for editing films and videos, but also for editing audio. And what I really like, that it never crashes, and you can do a lot with the audio. You may ask why audio, but it's when you are making games, you need a special extension files for the audio. I'm not sure now from the cuffs, but it should be WAV or VAW, and that is only one used for a audio files. Another thing you will need, and if you want to make games you will need it really without saying, is Adobe Photoshop, that we all know. Get any version. I have CS4 version, so if you don't want to be confused by the differences in your and my programs, just download the CS4 version, and now you are pretty much ready to go. So now, while you are downloading or maybe installing the applications, I will tell you something about the programming, about the C#, what you can expect. So C# programming language is quite same like Visual Basic programming language, if someone knows it, okay? And it's I mean, it's quite easy to learn, but it takes a lot of practice to get really good in it. What applications can you do in it? Well, you can do Windows Forms applications that are the windows, for example, like this window, alright? It is a window, you can minimize it, maximize it, close it. There are some buttons here, you can open some new windows, and it possibly does some stuff for you. Then you will be able to make console applications. Those applications are, for example, for making a server for a online game or something like that. Yeah. But back to the Windows Forms applications. Well, those applications can do pretty much anything you want. This is what I really like and why I'm programming. You can make whatever you want, and yeah, you can take it literally. It really depends on your knowledge, and yeah, really. But for example, you can make your own media player, as I did. I will show you. That's this media player. It pretty much is a normal media player, but I have here a music. There are albums, and there are music, and when you click on it, I will mute it. You see that there are 5 stars. You can rate it. You can yeah, just sort it by rating. So you see that the best music is on the top, and it every single time saves the data automatically. So you don't have to click any save buttons and stuff. And you can also shuffle the music so it will play. Nothing really new. It's a media player, but it's the way I like it. I mean, the contrast between yellow and blue. It's really the application I wanted, and I like that I can rate the music. So yeah. But well, those are the applications for people who would like to make their computer life a little bit better. But maybe other type. For example, application that will help you in school. I mean, what about an application where you put an equation and it solves it for you? Or where you put an equation or function and it draws a graph for you? Those are pretty much really hard, and I failed on solving the equation because it's quite harder in the code, I mean. But it could be done, and yeah, I could figure it out, I think, but I don't feel like doing so. You can make applications that, for example, lock computer for you so no one else can access it. You can make program that locks you any folder you want, that encrypts you any file you want, and you don't have to download the files from the internet and risk getting some viruses. You can make pretty much whatever, your own screenshot maker, your own wallpaper changer, your own browser, and implement some new cool functions you want to have. But maybe there is something else you can do, and that are games. So this is pretty much the reason why I started programming, because of games. I like games, and I like doing my own games. Because have you ever felt I mean, have you ever played a game and felt like, I would like to make this different way, I would like to have here this bonus, this one, and so on. So this is what you can do when you are a programmer. You can make your own game, your own rules, and yeah. But about the games, in this C#, in the Windows Forms application, you will be able to do only 2D games, and those games will be maybe like, not really games like Counter-Strike, no, or Diablo, for example, if you know that, or League of Legends, that's quite popular. Not at all. Don't expect this. In C# you will be able to do only, for example, some card game or something that is not moving a lot. For more amazing applications, like, games, with dozens of animations and cool stuff, that's why you are downloading a XNA, because XNA are libraries that allow you to make animations, pretty cool stuff, and so on. I will show you one application I'm working on at the moment. It's a snooker. So hold on. This is how the code looks like. Yeah, you can see here is a lot of stuff here that took me, well, yeah, months. So if I run it, you see that, yeah, that's for debugging. There is my account. I click on it. There is a shop where you can buy your cues for the billard. Every single one costs something and has different bonuses and so on. It's not done yet. You see that there is an animation, and when you click play game, you see that it pretty much works. The cue is moving. You see the nice smooth movement. This is what you won't be able to do in C#, but you will be able to do it in XNA. Really, well, XNA is a C#, but not in Windows Phones applications. So you see it has even a, yeah, music and so on. So this is, yeah, computer is playing. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I hate him. Well, yeah, so this is it. And yeah, so all other stuff, well, if you want to make some 3D games like Counter-Strike or some first-person shooter game that's gonna look something like Call of Duty, I will have to disappoint you, because you will not be able to do it in XNA, nor even in a C#. For this, you should download some game engine. I have tried, for example, Shiva, but yeah, that was a torture, because I had to learn new language that was unique for the Shiva, and the programming language was so stupid I wasn't able to do anything in it. But even to make some of these games and use those trainers, you will have to know some programming language to get the sense of the programmer and to know the code. Yeah, so now I hope you've got it, and we will get to the lesson. In this tutorial, in this video, I will teach you something about variables, something about the Windows and the GUI, which is graphics user interface, and really the basics. Well, one more thing I want to say. My objective is not to teach you some names of arguments, some names of variables, variable types, and so on. My objective is to let you understand the programming, because only when you understand the programming, then you are programming. So those series will not be only about C#, but also about the computer works, how it really works, and I will explain it really in details. So if you know already something about the variables, you shouldn't skip it, because I will add a lot more details for those that know something about programming already. Maybe you will find something new. One more thing, I'm talking from cuffs every single time, so there may be errors, like problems, mistakes. Yeah, it could happen. If you find so, please type it in the description or send me a message. Yeah, and here we go. So how to run this? You are gonna go to Start and look for a Microsoft Visual C#. So this opens up, so you press File, New Project, and you see here is a lot of stuff. If you don't have all of these, don't be desperate, because that's because of the XNA libraries and VPF. So now to explain this, Windows Forms application, that's what you should have. If you don't, just try to put your default or just check here the Visual C# somehow. So Windows Forms application, that's the application with the buttons and stuff, that's what I will be teaching you. VPF application, that's Windows Presentation Foundation application, that pretty much should be working over internet. I have tried to do something in it, but I failed really. So yeah, that's just console application. That's an application that I won't teach you. Well, not because I don't know it, but maybe because it's not really useful. I mean, maybe sometimes I will just tell you something about it. Well, class library, I want to explain this one because you are just beginners. For those they aren't, this is a library for creating a class that you can later on implement to your own application, such as you are using namespaces like, for example, system.io or system runtime interrupt services when you want to implement the or put in a library. It's same as when you are putting in library like kernel 32 or system 32 or user 32, where are several functions that you may want to use. So this is pretty much the same, but you are pretty much creating your own library, and you can later on use it in different projects and so on. VPF browser application, that's VPF again. Empty project, I don't know what's it really, I never used it. And Windows game, this is when you are making XNA games, you should choose this, or the Xbox 32, that's for Xbox, and so on. But when you choose Windows Game 4.0, you may be able to do application for both Xbox and PC, and it also works for smartphones. So now we select Windows Forms application. We press OK. Well, no, here is the name. This is the name of your first project, so let's name it first project. There may be a space, like you see here. There may be a space, but there shouldn't be any diacritics like comma or dot. It may proceed, but you will get to serious trouble. Well, pretty much, because it sometimes shouldn't find the project. Well, generally you shouldn't be using dots, commas, or some diacritics in programming. All right. Well, of course there are some exceptions. So Windows Forms application and press OK. Now it loads up and we see here different stuff. So here is Toolbox, here is Solution Explorer, here are properties, and here is a error list. If you don't have it like this, don't be desperate. So for the first one, Toolbox right here. If you don't have it, you go to View, Other Windows, and here Toolbox, and it should show up. I have got it already here, so it's here. When you press it and drag it, you can drag it here. But if you have it like so, you may drag it and move it to this. And you see, it gets to this position. If it is hiding every single time, you should here click Auto Hide, and it will be here, Toolbox, and here you press Auto Hide again, and it will not hide. So yeah. Here we have the Form 1 design. This is how the form will look like when you run the application. This is what you will see when you run the application. Well, pretty much, yeah. Here is Solution Explorer. Here is the name of the application. Here are properties of the applications. There is a system, and there will be classes with the code. Properties. Properties are properties of the window, properties of few buttons and stuff you put on, and so on. Yeah, you maybe don't see it. I can't resize the window while I'm recording, so I move it. Yeah. Here is a error list. You may have here, you should have here errors, warnings, messages. Press here a View, Other Windows, and you can choose the error list here if you don't have it, or properties window or Solution Explorer. Now to get to the code. How you get to the code? There are several ways. You can press F7 while focusing this window, F7, and we get to the code. This is the code of the application. It's generated for you like for the beginning, so that can run. Yeah. When you go to form 1, which is here, and double click it, you get to form again. And you see we already have here form1.cs. That is the code, and you can switch between those windows. Another way how to get to the code is double click the window or any button that is there, or any anything. But you see we have here form1 load, private void form1 load, object center, event args e. Well, I will make it easy. So first, variables. I will write here some code and then I will explain it. I will write int number, and this. This is really important. You have to write it after pretty much every single command, after every line. Okay? There are of course some exceptions, but take it like a fact. You will have to get used to it. I started as well. I know what is it like. Or I will write string. So those are variables. But what is variable? We all know variables. We know it from mathematics. I will now write here something. X plus 1 equals, don't write what I'm writing right now, alright? So x plus 1 equals 2. We know it from mathematics. When we are supposed to get the x, we know that x is 1 now. But what is x? X is a variable that has no value, and we then assign it a value. It is done when we solve the equation. So when we have like a last line, x equals 1. This is pretty much how we are assigning it a value. So we have here int number, okay? We go to form1 load, we move our cursor here, and we write number equals 6, and this character again. So the number variable is now here declared, so it exists, but if it is declared, it has no value. We can assign it a value like this, number equals 6. But maybe you wonder what is int and what is the string here. Int is a shortcut for integer. It is basically just a type of the variable. Number here, which is black, is name of the variable, and it may be anything at all. It may be number 25, and you notice here the down score, or I don't know how to call this character, but it can't be number, well, I will make it like this, number space 25. You can't include space to the name of the variable. You see, here is the error. You also can't include dots, commas, and diacritics to the name of the variable. But you can put in this character which I like. For example, if you want to have a variable that will hold the number of beers, you would write number of beers. And you don't have to write number of beers without any, you see it's visual. But you see here is an error. The name number does not exist in the current context. That's because there is no longer variable number, there is variable number of beers. So what we are gonna do, we are copy it here. Number of beers equals 6. So integer is a type of variable and it is a number. It's a number that is whole. I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. But not 1.006. This is a, yeah, it could be also minus and so on. It's the worldwide used number variable. What is string? String, you see string here. So we also write here string. Well, notice that the name is strin and there is not the G at the end, alright? I wouldn't be able to make the name string. Really the same name as the type of the variable can't exist. So make really sure, well, you know that. So string, and you see that here is some blue icon here. That's our variable. You can highlight it and double click or press space and it fills automatically. Equals. The string variables are always between two double commas, you see? And there may be whatever you want. Spaces, dots, commas, diacritics, whatever, even numbers. But what happens when we type here 564? You may say, okay, now it could be a int variable, but it couldn't. The difference between the integer, the number variable, and the string variable, if you have there 564, is that the int variable, really, the computer knows that it is a number, and it can do some operations with it, like add some numbers, divide them, and so on. But if it is in string, there could be everything, but the computer understands it like only character number 5, well, character 5, character 6, character 4. And he has no idea that it is supposed to be a number 564. Nor when I write only 4, it really uses it only like some character. It has no idea it is a number. So for numbers, we use int, integer. Now I will learn you debugging. We double click the form 1 and we press this button, the green, yeah, something, triangle. Or we can press F5. And you see that here the window pops up and the application runs. The application runs until we close it or until we press here the stop button. But now I will learn you some breaks. We get to the code. What is a break? Break is pretty much my own word I created, but I will learn you how to debug the application. When you look on the code, you may click here on the gray strip here. Click on it, where here is this character, alright? Click on it. And you see that it gets red. So now when we press F5, you see that it gets yellow. And even here is the yellow arrow. So now we are in the debugging state. What happened? Application ran, but once it gets to this code and it realized that you have here the break, it paused itself. So it is not running at the moment. But you are in the code and you are able to look into the code. So you see that number of beers has a value of 0. That's a default value of int, alright? But if you go to string, it has value null, because it's nothing. Now when we press F10, we move on one step. So press F10 And you see that here is number of beers equals 6, but number of beers is 0. This code, or any code you pretty much have highlighted, will happen after you press F10 again. So when I now press F10, now the number of beers is 6 because it was assigned. And the same with string, it is null. I press F10 and it is 4. Please notice that when you don't have a break here and the application runs normally, this is done automatically, alright? This is just that you see that there is something changing, alright? For people that want to learn something more about variables, well, okay, also for beginners, one more type, and that will be double. D. Double is type of variable that is also number, but it is a, for example, p, alright? 3, 6, 3.141592 and so on. So it may be 1/2 really, if I say it like so. It may be, when I write here d equals 1.5 and 1.5. You should write dot, alright, every single time dot, not comma, my mistake. But what happened if I go to number of beers, that is int, integer, and I write here 1.5 as well. We go, run it, and you see, cannot implicitly convert type double to int. An explicit conversion exists. Are you missing a cast? So pretty much, I could explain this error, but it will be about conversion, and that's not what I want to learn you today. So you will try to assign different type of variable to the variable, yeah. So it should be 1 or 1 etc etc uc, yeah. But yeah, okay. It has some capacity, alright, but I will talk about that later. So for people that are really into learning the programming, or they already know something about it, I will explain more types of variables. So this is some extension, more in detail. For example, long L. Long is, yeah, if we go to the integer, it has range of something like -4 million to +4 million. Everything that is higher or lower than that range will give you an error. For this, we have here long. The long type is, now I don't really know the range, but it is really long. That's why how you can memorize it. And you can assign it really amazing and big values. Why is it done like this? Pretty much the reason is simple, because when you need, for example, number 6 or 7, you shouldn't declare a variable that takes a lot of memory, because once the variable is declared, it takes, or it has assigned a memory of its size. Doesn't really matter what the value is inside, but the range of the variable. So this will be wasting. Yeah. Another type is bool. This is for beginners as well. Bool has only 2 values. It's really easy, true or false. So yes or no, 1 or 0. 1 is true, I think, 0 is false. But it's assigned like equals true or equals false. Nothing else. You see that it is blue, so yeah. Another type is, yeah, let's try int ptr. Int ptrp. Int ptr is a reference to method or function. It is used when you use a function that returns a method. So you give it to this variable. It's a yeah. I will explain that maybe in later tutorials. It's not really used commonly, but it's also variable. Well, something more interesting is var. varv. Oh yes, sorry about this. var may be declared only inside of the method or function, so varv. This is a really nice and amazing variable. I really like that, and even the beginners should know what is it. You see that when I write only varv, there is an error, because I have to give it a value immediately. Alright? What is it? It's a type of variable that is not defined. Let's say you have a number, but you don't know what variable should it be. So you type var v equals and the number. And the type of the variable will be automatically found for you. This is used only when you just have some short-term variables and you really don't know the type or something like that. Maybe used even instead of the int ptr. Yeah. Another type of variable, there are some number types like float, double, float. Well, should I explain float? Alright, float. Float, I'm not sure about this, but it is a more exact double. It's a number like 1.5555, but it's really exact, and it is a really bigger. It is a really, well, bigger. It could be, yeah, it's more exact, really. Wow. Yeah, but behind the number you write f every single time. Well, this is just, in my opinion, to give it, yeah, to really know that it is gonna be float. That's why the f is here. It's used in Microsoft XNA when you, for example, want to draw a sprite patch and turning it around and so on. So now we look into the code and we will try to make our own application. We delete all of this, and here is the form 1 load. We go to form 1, and here from the toolbox we select the button. You see that here in properties you can change the properties of the button. I won't explain all of this because that would take ages, but you can we will change here text. Alright, find here text. If you don't see here this one, you should click on this. Alright, there are events, but this properties. So instead of text we will write, for example, hello, and you see that the text here changed to the hello. We have to have the button selected, however, but make sure you are changing text. There is also name, which is how the button is called in the code. So now we double click the button and the new method shows up. This code is gonna be executed when the button is clicked. So we are gonna write, for example, here, as we learned, string text equals double commas hello word. Yeah, this is my first application. First, not first, first. Yeah. And here the, yeah, this character, make sure it's there. Alright, so you see no errors. This is just because it is never used. You see it's green stuff here. That's because you never used it. Just to let you know that you have there a variable that is not used at all and thus can be deleted, for example. So now we are gonna write MessageBox. You see, as I started writing MESS, there is a message, there is MessageBox buttons. What we are gonna use is MessageBox here. You see, MessageBox. Press enter. We write MessageBox dot. Now we use show. We write this, the text, you see it takes string like an argument. It's same like in mathematics in functions, an argument of function, but this is argument of, yeah, it's a function really, I think. No, it's a method. So we write in a text, and you see, and we close the brackets. So you see the text here is done here. That's why we use variables. We press F5, and when we press the hello button, a new message box shows up. Hello world, this is my first application. We may click OK and press it again. Yeah, so that's it. One more thing about the variables. Variable is something like in mathematics we know that like substitution. Alright, so for example, when we have a x plus 1, we may substitute it and call it only y, and that's it. We have here the string hello world, this is my first application, and we really may take this with the brackets and put it here to the argument, and this will work. But what we are doing we are putting it to a variable and we are substituting it. You may ask, why the hell are we doing it if we can put it there directly? But to make you sure, for example, defining the position of the vector when you are making game, it makes the code easier to read when you have variables that you may use more times, and it saves space. If I would write here another message box show text, and I would like to change the text, then all I have to do is to change this. But if I would have this string in both of these, I will be forced to change both strings. So that's why the variables are used. So this is pretty much all in this tutorial. There will be more tutorials coming. I will be later on explaining methods, functions, how to do them, classes, structures, enums. Yeah, there are loads of stuff to learn, so stay tuned and see you next time. Hopefully it helped you.